What that means is we're pretty much above criticism because we really don't care about people who disagree with us. In 1986, we sank half of Iceland's whaling fleet at dockside and destroyed their whale processing plant. It took them 17 years to recover from that damage. But shortly thereafter, a former colleague from Greenpeace, he came up and he said, "I just want to let you know that what you did in Iceland was despicable, reprehensible, criminal, and unforgivable." And I said, "So?" And he said, "Well, I think you should know what people in this movement think about you." I said, "Look, John, we didn't sink those whaling ships for you. We didn't sink them for anybody in Greenpeace. We didn't sink them for any human being on this planet. We sank them for the whales. Find me one whale anywhere on this planet who disagreed with what we did that day, and I'll tell you, we'll reconsider. But until then, we're going to continue to sink whaling ships, and we've sunk 12 of them so far." We sank 12 whaling ships, and we've never been convicted of a felony. We've never been sued. And the reason for that, they're criminals. They're poachers. It's as simple as that. I flew to Iceland and I said, made myself available. They wouldn't answer my letters. I said, "Are there any charges?" So I had to get on a plane, fly to Reykjavik. I got off at the airport. There's 150 police officers there, plus the chief immigration officer. And he said, "Well, Captain Watson, how long do you intend to stay in Iceland?" I said, "I don't know, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years, you tell me." He said, "We have to go to interrogation." I said, "Sounds like fun, let's go." Went off to interrogation. He said, "Are you admitting to sinking these whaling ships?" I said, "Look, we sunk them. We're going to sink the other 2 at the first opportunity." They then escorted me to the airport and put me on a plane and told me to go home. And the Minister of Justice stood up in the House in Parliament and he says, "Who does he think he is? He comes into our country and demands to be arrested. Get him out of here." We don't break laws, we uphold them. And the United Nations World Charter for Nature allows for us to do that. It says that any individual, you or I, any non-government organization, is empowered to uphold international conservation law, and specifically and especially in areas beyond national jurisdiction. We have the power to uphold those laws. And when governments refuse to do it, then it falls upon us to do it, because we're not going to sit by and watch this world be destroyed for profits and because of corruption without doing anything. And each and every one of us can make a difference. And it really doesn't matter how you approach that. You just use your own skills, your own abilities, your own passion to do what you can in your way, because all movements are made up of diversity of approaches, strategies, and tactics. So whether it's education, litigation, legislation, or civil disobedience, or protesting, letter writing, or going out and ramming whaling ships, it all works towards the same goal: diversity. Diversity is what makes a movement. And each and every one of us is part of that diversity. Just by being here, you're part of that diversity. And I get calls all the time from around the world about, for instance, I get a call from Scotland. They're killing seals up there, and the guy says, "Well, what are you going to do about them killing seals over here?" I said, "I don't know, I'm on the other side of the world. What are you going to do about it?" And he said, "Well, what can I do about it?" And we helped him get together a group, and he went up there and they interfered with a seal hunt. They caused such a ruckus that they were able to raise enough money to buy the island where the seals were being killed. We now own that island. And it's a seal sanctuary. And this was just a man from Scotland who didn't think that he could do anything. So what I'm saying to you is each and every one of you has that power to actually make a difference and to make this a better world. Because really, when you think about it, what better or more noble legacy can we leave than to know that we've protected endangered species and endangered habitats. And right now we're living in the midst of what scientists call the Holocene, which is a major extinction event. It's the 6th major extinction event in world history. And the last one was 65 million years ago. And what that means is that between 2000 and 2065, we will lose more species of plants and animals than we've lost in the last 65 million years. That is a major, major issue that we all should be concerned about. In June, a conference on coral reef scientists came out with a paper saying that in 20 years, all coral reef ecosystems on this planet will be gone, and it's irreversible. We can't stop that. That's how serious the situation is. But did you see it on the front page of the LA Times? Did you see it on CNN? No, because they're in the business of destroying this planet. Mitsubishi right now is buying all of the bluefin tuna they can get, storing it in vast warehouses, refrigerated warehouses, because the more tuna they can get, the less tuna is in the ocean, and as the species is diminished, the value of the tuna goes up. They're investing in extinction, because when there is not a single bluefin tuna left in the ocean, Mitsubishi will have about 100 or 200 or 1 million of them sitting in a warehouse that they can name the price. These people are investing in extinction. The oceans are dying. They're dying in our time. Jacques Cousteau said just before he died, the oceans are dying, and if the navies of the world had any sense of moral support, any sense of moral responsibility, they would be out there defending our oceans instead of playing their silly little war games with each other. The fact is we have met the enemy. The enemy is us. We're destroying this planet. We got to get ourselves back on track, and we've got to act responsibly, and that means living in harmony with this planet, living in accordance with the basic laws of ecology. And a few years ago, I was debating a Norwegian whaler who said, "But Watson, you say that whales are more intelligent than people. That's a really stupid thing to say. How can you say something so stupid?" And I said, "Look, George, I measure intelligence by the ability to live in harmony with the natural world. And by that criteria, whales are far more intelligent than we are." Yeah. And he said, "Well, by that criteria, cockroaches are more intelligent than we are." I said, "Look, George, you're beginning to understand what I'm trying to tell you." Because that is the true mark of intelligence, the fact that you can live in harmony with all the other species in accordance to the law of diversity, the laws of interdependence, and understanding the law of finite resources. And I think that we have a responsibility to all future generations of all species to do everything we can to make this world a better place for them. Because to be a conservationist, in fact, when people call me a radical, I say, look, I'm a conservative. You don't get more conservative than being a conservationist. That's what the word means. The radicals are destroying the planet. We're trying to protect it. We're the conservatives. Stop changing the language around. And the fact is that, for instance, Rush Limbaugh, he described me as a doom and gloom Cassandra. Always preaching doom and gloom, not seeing the right side. And I said, well, you know, what that tells me is Rush never read the Iliad. Because if he had of, he would have realized that, yes, Cassandra was all doom and gloom, but you know what? She was right. Yeah. And all they had to do was listen to her, and everything would have been saved. But they didn't. So yes, we're preaching doom and gloom with the hopes that we can get people turned around. Because the solution is the impossible one. We're asking for an impossible solution. And when people say, what do you mean by that? What I mean is imagine the impossible. And the best example that I know of this is 1972, South Africa. The very idea that Nelson Mandela would be president of South Africa anytime was unimaginable, unthinkable, but it happened. It was impossible, and it happened. And so many things are happening like that now because people have the passion to stand up and fight for what they believe in. And when you do that, you can make the impossible possible. And so when people say we're not going to be able to end whaling in Antarctica, they're wrong. We will end it. As Martin Sheen told me one time, he said, you know, they say we're fighting a losing battle, but you know what? The only battles worth fighting are losing battles. So thank you. Thank you very much. It's been, you know, it's been a pleasure coming every year to this community and to share with the artists and with you this passion, this love for our planet. And for that reason, I want to thank you all, each and every one of you, for being here, and also for everybody, you know, Derek and Aaron and Bill and Zoli and all the volunteers who helped put this together. Thank you very much. And we're going to translate your donations here into getting those 2 ships down to the coast of Antarctica, and we are going to make sure that we do better than cut the quota in half with those 2 vessels. We're going to try and get up to 70 to 80% of those whales saved. Thank you. Thank you very much.
One more big round of applause for Mr. Captain Paul Watson.